Malaysia's National Day, or Hari Merdeka, and Malaysia Day are key dates in our history. Merdeka, in the Malay language, means independent or free. August 31st marks our independence from colonial rule in 1957, while September 16th commemorates the date when the peninsular states of Malaya joined hands with Sabah, Sarawak, and Singapore to form Malaysia in 1963. This year's National Day is celebrated under the theme Malaysia Madani, Jiwa Merdeka, symbolizing the integration of Malaysians from various cultures and ethnicities, and Malaysia Madani drives the country's prosperity and progress, while Jiwa Merdeka expresses the people's patriotic spirit towards building a strong, harmonious, and progressive nation. Dear friends, as we celebrate our Merdeka and Malaysia Day this year, we should acknowledge the long-standing and excellent relations between Malaysia and South Africa. Both our countries have a deep and abiding relationship based on solid foundations which can be further built upon, both in scope and substance, not only for our mutual benefit, but for the larger developing world. The historical ties between the peoples of Malaysia and South Africa predate the formal establishment of diplomatic relations in 1993. These links can be traced back to the 17th century, when large numbers of Malays arrived at the shores of South Africa. Today, we see that their descendants, the Cape Malays, have become an important part of this country. Dear friends, in terms of economic relations, Malaysia and South Africa are important partners. South Africa is Malaysia's largest trading partner in Africa, with total bilateral trade in 2023 creeping towards $2 billion. Malaysia used to be one of the largest sources of foreign direct investment in South Africa, especially in the decade after the end of apartheid. While the scenario is a bit different now, we will continue to encourage more Malaysian businesses to invest in this country. In the same vein, I would like to encourage South African businesses to trade in, to invest in, and trade with Malaysia. We are strategically located in the heart of Southeast Asia, and we can be seen as the ideal gateway to ASEAN. ASEAN has a population of almost 680 million people and a combined nominal GDP of $3.2 trillion. Just like the economic benefits of engaging with ASEAN and Malaysia are clear, we will continue to encourage Malaysian entities to take advantage of South Africa as a gateway to this continent, especially in terms of the African continental free trade area. I'm also pleased to note the strong cooperation between Malaysia and South Africa in other fields of mutual interest, such as tourism and culture, defense, education, Islamic affairs, and people-to-people exchanges. I would also like to make special mention of the good cooperation in the field of capacity building and technical cooperation. Every year, South African officials take part in various courses under the Malaysian Technical Cooperation Program, or MTCP. Malaysia remains committed to offering MTCP courses as well as scholarships to South Africa, not just for capacity building, but also in the interest of South-South cooperation. Dear friends, Malaysia and South Africa share much in common on multilateral issues. We are both staunchly against unilateralism and the use of force to settle international disputes. We have pushed for just causes on the global stage and spoken out for the oppressed, such as for the plight of the Palestinians. In this regard, I would like to reiterate Malaysia's commendation of and ironclad support for South Africa for its noble, rightful, and principled efforts in championing the rights of the Palestinians, particularly in applying to the International Court of Justice, invoking the Genocide Convention against Israel. On the multilateral front, Malaysia and South Africa share common goals and are working together to foster a more equitable and just world. Efforts towards the reform of multilateral organizations and bodies, such as the United Nations Security Council, is testament of this. Our global efforts also align on other key issues such as climate change and sustainable development. Our close cooperation on the multilateral front is also mirrored in our work on the regional front. I'm pleased to note that in July last year, South Africa became the first African country to be granted ASEAN Sectoral Dialogue Partner status, marking a new era of more meaningful cooperation between South Africa and ASEAN. I also hope that Malaysia can count on South Africa's support for Malaysia's interest to be part of BRICS. Malaysia's intention to join BRICS is premised upon our shared commitment to strengthening multilateral cooperation and advancing the Global South agenda. We believe that we are well positioned to make a valuable contribution towards this aspiration. Jalo gemilang bendera Malaysia, megah berkibar setiap hari. Selalulah kita berdoa padanya, Malaysia terus aman harmoni.
It is my pleasure, on behalf of the government and people of South Africa, to join you in celebrating the 67th National Day of Malaysia and the 61st Malaysia Day, Merdeka, as you call it. South Africa sends its warmest greetings and congratulations to Your Excellency and to the government and people of Malaysia on this day. Last year marked the 30th anniversary of the establishment of formal diplomatic relations between South Africa and Malaysia. As the Deputy High Commissioner also mentioned, Malaysia was one of apartheid South Africa's most vocal critics in Asia, and will always remember the support of the people of Malaysia in our struggle for freedom. Malaysia contributed to our development since 1994 through its substantial investments in many sectors of our economy, including telecommunications, energy and petroleum, together with real estate. Even though these interests have since slowed down, most notably dating back to the 2008 global financial crisis, I see enough people with sprinkling of grey in their hair like mine who would remember what 2008 did to the world, and we are very happy to have those days behind us. So we are hoping and looking forward to renewed and revitalized bilateral trade and investment ties between our two countries. And we believe that the time is right to ensure that we cooperate on projects to our mutual benefit. South Africa successfully concluded its general elections on the 29th of May, 2024, and the priorities of the 7th administration's Government of National Unity are deeply rooted in our country's values and constitution. We are committed to continuing our principled foreign policy positions, including standing steadfast in our solidarity, which we share with Malaysia, in championing causes that are dear to our hearts, and pledging solidarity with people who continue to be oppressed. And we know that Malaysia stands foursquare behind us as we pursue the cause of the Palestinian people. We aim to enhance our cooperation with Malaysia and align our efforts with the growth-focused strategic objectives of the 7th administration. And the priorities of the 7th administration include inclusive growth, job creation, addressing the high cost of living, and building a capable, ethical, and developmental state. And we trust that the programs that Malaysia continues to honor us with of building our capacity will assist especially civil servants like myself and others to really strengthen our capacity to strengthen our state. Relations between our countries following 1994 have blossomed, and our similar views on multilateral issues have strengthened our understanding of each other. Our two countries vocally championed South-South cooperation and the reform of global financial and governance architecture, and were successful in uniting countries of the South around these issues through the non-aligned movement, which, as we all know, celebrates the spirit of Bandung. And together with yourselves, we look forward to the 70th anniversary of the Bandung Conference of 1955 next year, where again, the Global South will reaffirm its ties of solidarity and friendship. Of particular interest to us is the engagement with Malaysia as the leading global halal hub to produce halal products in South Africa together for export to 1.4 billion Muslim consumers globally. There is a population of well over 500 million Muslims on this continent alone. Hence, this cooperation we envisage provides us with a mutually beneficial opportunity for trade and investment, particularly under the auspices of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, something which you also alluded to, Deputy High Commissioner. And this will promote and support economic integration across our continent. The halal food production sector has a huge potential for Malaysia, utilizing our country as a halal hub in Africa and investing in halal parks, possibly in joint ventures with South African companies. In addition to the promotion of this sector, our goal is also to promote our agriculture and agro-process sectors. In this regard, we need to renew our efforts to improve reciprocal market access. We believe that we can provide Malaysia with the necessary diversified supply chains that can help you meet your food security objectives in terms of quality food items at affordable prices. Your support in assisting us to increase the pace in discussions between our respective religious, trade, and agricultural entities will enable us to finalize the processes required for the increased trade that we have discussed. As of 2023, bilateral trade between our two countries was valued at approximately 39 billion rand, representing an increase from 36.9 billion in 2022. While this increase is welcome, I'm sure you'll agree with me that we can do better and we should aim to do better.